All right, so today's lesson is on number problems, which is solving for a number. So when we're solving any of these problems, there's 4 steps to follow. First, number 1, identify what you are looking for and call it X or whatever you prefer. Give it a letter to represent. So any letter, but normally we would just use X. Number 2, translate the problem into a mathematical statement, so the equation. 3, you're going to solve the equation. And then number 4 is answer the question with a final statement. So let's take a look at our first example. So our first example, if a number is tripled and the result increased by 4, the sum is 64. Find the number. So we're going to let X be the number. So we just say let X equal the number. And now our second step is to come up with our equation. So if a number is tripled, so tripled, that would mean 3 times X, and the result is increased by 4, so 3X, and then it's increased by 4, the sum is 64. So we've added them together and our sum is going to be equal to 64. So there's our equation. So next, all we have to do is solve for X. So subtract 4 on both sides. And we end up with 3X is equal to 60. And then we have to divide by 3 on both sides. And X is equal to 60 divided by 3. X is equal to 20. So therefore, the number is 20. All right, our next example is the larger of two numbers is 7 more than 5 times the smaller. If their sum is 61, what are the numbers? All right, so with a question like this, we have to solve for two numbers, the larger and the smaller. So larger and smaller. So we'll call smaller X. And then our larger number we know is 7 more than 5 times the smaller. So 5 times the smaller is 5X, and then plus 7. All right, so 7 more than 5 times the smaller. So 5 times X, and then 7 more, so plus 7. So that's our larger number. Our smaller number is just X. All right, so now we know is that if their sum is 61, what are the numbers? So we have to take 5X plus 7, add it with X, and the sum is 61. So we get 5X plus 7 plus X is equal to 61. All right, so make sure you do add both the numbers. All right, now we would go ahead and solve for X. So 5X plus X, I will just collect together first to give me 6X plus 7 is equal to 61. Then I would subtract the 7 on both sides. So 6X is equal to 61 minus 7, which is 54. And then last step is divide by 6. All right, so X is equal to 54 divided by 6, which is 9. So that means X is equal to 9. That means X here, our smaller number, is 9. All right, so our smaller number is 9. Therefore, the smaller number is 9. The larger number is going to be 5 times 9 plus 7, which gives me 52. So the smaller number is 9, and the larger number is 52. All right, so our next example here is the sum of three consecutive numbers is 78. What are the numbers? So to solve this, you do need to know what consecutive means. Consecutive means it's one after the other. So 1, 2, and 3, those would be consecutive numbers. 5, 6, 7, those would be consecutive numbers. So when we are choosing our variables, our first number we will just call x, and our second number therefore will be x plus 1, and our third number will be x plus 2. All right, so that is how we work with consecutive numbers. Next, we know that the sum of the three consecutive numbers is 78. So we have to add all three of these together to give a sum of 78. So we have to take x, then plus x plus 1, and then plus x plus 2, and the sum of it is 78. Right, now we have our equation, so now we just have to solve for x. Start by collecting all your like terms. We have x, x, and x. That's 3x. And then we have 1 plus 2, which is 3. So 3x plus 3 is equal to 78. All right, and now we can go ahead and solve for x. Subtract by 3 on both sides. That gives me 3x is equal to 78 minus 3, which is 75. And divide by 3 on both sides. So x is equal to 75 divided by 3, which is 25. All right, so we have x is equal to 25. That's your first number. So your first number, therefore, the first number is 25. The second number is going to be 25 plus 1, which is 26. So the second number is 26. And our third number is going to be x plus 2. So 25 plus 2, which is 27. So 25, 26, and 27 are the three consecutive numbers. So the first thing we have to do is choose a variable. So we'll just choose x. X equals the number. So let's work with the first part. 3 is added to a number and the sum is multiplied by 2. So 3 is added to a number. So x plus 3. The sum is multiplied by 2. So that means you have to do this first and then multiply it by 2. So you have to put that in brackets and show it's being multiplied by 2. The result is the same as 9 subtracted from 3 times the number. So you have to write it as 3x minus 9. Okay, because the 9 is subtracted from 3 times the number. So 3x minus 9. So there's our equation. And now we just have to work out this to solve for x. First thing you do here is distributive property. Multiply the 2 with everything inside the bracket. So 2x plus 6 equals 3x minus 9. Now it looks like an equation we can just solve. I'm going to bring the 3x over to this side, or you can bring the 2x over to this side. Either way, you'll get the same answer. So 2 minus 3x here, I get negative 1x plus 6 is equal to negative 9. I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. So I get negative 1x equals negative 9 minus 6, which is negative 15. And I do have a -1 here to deal with, so I got to divide both sides by -1. So x is equal to 15. All right, and then the statement is the number is 15.